Like I had good friends that like are sick on Harleys that rode my bike and they're like, holy fuck, this thing is aggressive.
I met a gypsy.
I can imagine wheeling a dirt bike. Like I can do it a little bit, but I cannot imagine doing what you do on those big fucking bikes.
Yeah. So I think I had the Harley for 3-4 years now, probably 3. But it was a lot. If you ask me, by the way, like the young me, if you would said something about Harleys, I would have been like, not for me. What kind of old bike is that? That's for like grandpas and I don't know, angry people. But then I matured a little bit and I really realized it's sick. So I wanted to be the first girl. Once again, it was like an achievement for me. Because I was looking around on social media and I haven't really seen a girl do a wheelie on a Dyna. I've seen a few do it on like Sportsters, and I was talking with a few friends that was riding Harleys, like doing wheelies. I was like, I want to get into this. It looks cool. They're like, yeah, get a Sportster. I'm like, what do you mean get a Sportster? I want a Dyna. And like even my friend kind of laughed in my face and was like, you should definitely get a Sportster. Like they're heavy. I know that you're a good rider, but they're heavy. Like it makes no sense. I was like, that was once again that little same as, oh, you should not ride wheelies, you suck at it. Like that was my little drive to be like, you know what, watch me. So I got a Harley, and it took me long though, very long to like have it set up. I had no knowledge. Like once again, I didn't really have any friends that was doing, I did have one friend, but he didn't even live like close to where I was living for us to like ride and discuss like how to even figure out how to build a wheelie bike, because it's different, especially for me. I'm not a big Harley guy.
Yeah.
So to like lack on the weight and strength, I had to modify my bike a lot to make it work, and that took long, because normally in the States people would just go and leave it to like a workshop that actually knows fully what wheelie guys want for their bikes. In Europe it's like not heard of that you should wheelie a Harley. So the only shops you find around here is like drag racing kind of tuners that just wants to build like a machine that is fast. So it took me long, and parts are expensive here, like 3 times the price in Europe sometimes. So to figure out the bike to wheelie, it took so long, and I was stressed the whole time. Like I was like, what if, because now I bought the bike that people know that I'm trying to do this. Like I'm like, what if someone like kind of does this before me? I was like losing my mind trying to aim it, and the bike was running so bad. I had problems with it because one of the shops I was working with missed a little thing on the engine, and the engine blew up. So after that I had to rebuild it myself, and once I did that I put in like some fresh engine parts, added some tuning parts, and the bike ended up having so much power. I did not expect that. When I was fully done and brought it to the tuner, like the numbers that came out was way more than I expected. And when I took it out on the street, tried to like even do a wheelie, even on 3rd gear, no clutch, just giving gas, the bike was like leaving skid marks for like long. I was like, what have I done? And that was that realization for me, like I actually fucked up. Because like, how am I meant to wheelie this now? It's a monster that just screams and wants to like burn tires. And then I know that I'm not the biggest one either, so like at least if I had a bit of weight on me, it would have maybe hooked, but I don't. So now what am I supposed to do? Once again, like time is running out. Like for me in my head, I had this own pressure on myself that no one even knew about. But I had to figure out how to get like a custom wheel on, so I could change the diameter on it, so I could have a super slick like tire instead of riding the OG Harley size tires, because they're touring harder tire rubber blends that are not so grippy. And I had to work on suspension. I was even planning on putting weights up in the fender. But once I got that timing, and this is why like the Harleys are so different, because I'll really like most other bikes without any effort, like they react the same and come up the same. But the Harley, the hardest thing for me was to find the timing of like how to compress the fork, wait for the rebound fully, because then the delay on like the Harley doesn't, it was just, a supermoto would go up no matter, a dirt bike would go up no matter what you do, because there's always going to be power. No matter if you like clutch it up a little bit wrong, you can still chase it up to balance point. This bike needs to go like 12 right away, and it needs to hook it can't spin, because that was a lot of the problems. It spins half the way up, so I like rev out, and then I didn't have enough strength to like pull it up. So even sometimes when I got grip, it was not full grip. It was long. But then I finally found a setup that works for me, and obviously my skills improved with like my technique and everything. And now I got a dial bike, and I'm wheeling my Harley.
Dude, even that you're describing that, I just can't even imagine. Like, I can't imagine being able to do it. And like, you see like the wheelie machines and stuff, and you see people like learning to do it, and it's just like it's so aggressive. Just like you've got to go so hard to do it.
Yeah, the thing is, they would be like easier bikes to ride if you actually can wheelie a stock bike.
Yeah.
Because they're pretty smooth once they're stock. But the problem is for me is that I wouldn't even have the like strength to kind of like try to bounce it up. So I'm riding a very aggressive bike, so you have to be very like fine with it. Like, I had good friends that like are sick on Harleys that rode my bike, and they're like, holy fuck, this thing is aggressive. So yeah, it was a bit different, but it works. I always like, as a girl, I think, or not even as a girl, but sometimes you just have to find your own little way. Because I used to remember guys always saying like, oh, well, just do this. It works like this. Yeah, maybe for you, but not for me. I can't barely reach my feet on the ground when I'm riding. So your tips are going to work for you, but not for me. So you always have to find your own ways. And I feel like it's been a bit complicated for me to do that, because I always want to do things that haven't, as we talked about before, like if it's something that you haven't seen before, you don't really know where to start, and you just get stuck on like, how do I make this work? But then when you do it, it's a big achievement.
So why do people not wheelie Dynas more? Is it just because they're so much heavier?
It's a heavy bike, but it comes with more than that. It's a big risk. Crashing on a heavy bike like that often leaves you with a lot more risk.
To yourself and the bike.
Yeah, it's an expensive bike. The parts are mad expensive. If you crash a Harley, like if you loop it, it's not going to be like a dirt bike where you just pick it up and go right again. The handlebars will clamp off, the tank is dented, like paint job is ruined, like you have these custom paint jobs. Just, it's expensive. So there's a lot of people that started, like it actually started to slowly grow in Europe, like Harley Wheelies.
Yeah.
Like 2 summers ago, and people were getting into it, but then like after a summer, after a couple of months, everyone sold them because they realized that it's very expensive to deal with, and unless you're mad skilled, there's not much you can do on a Harley. Like compared to other bikes, you're pretty like limited on certain things, so people get bored. But I still always see that there's ways where you can develop and learn new things, and also it's a great showpiece because people love a mad Harley.
Oh yeah, yeah. I hadn't even really thought about that. How many times have you crashed it?
I've luckily never crashed it looping like in a wheelie. I've crashed it just doing like donuts and playing around doing dumb shit. So it's basically just tipping over or a little high side where I get flicked over, but nothing bad because I have crash bars. So like holds up the most of the stuff.
So is most of your crashing done on the dirt bikes, practicing to get as good as what you've gotten? Yeah,
probably, yeah. I've crashed a lot on dirt bikes. Actually, my most crashing is riding tracks, motocross.
Oh, really?
I'm looped everywhere.
No way.
But I need a bit of time to get into it. I'm all right when I get into it, but I'm not the best, absolutely not. But I get arm pump so bad.
Yeah, well, look at the size of your arms.
Unfortunately, now I haven't been able to ride motocross for a year because of the wrist injury. But that's something I'm really looking forward to, because I wanted to take my like supermoto riding into some kind of free riding culture thing, like a mix of wheelies, but like concrete jungle, finding city stairs, jumping up, coming down, like that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So it's not just like always on the ground.
Yeah.
So for me to be able to do that, I used to practice a bit of FMX and motocross just to like get flow in the air, because I'm a straight rider from like start. I'm stiff in there. It took me long to even like learn how to loose up a little bit, and even now if I would go hit a jump, I would probably like. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't do that now.
How long do you think that it's going to take to get back to that, do you think?
It's very, very uncertain because I had a new fracture on my ligament reconstruction. So I need to have another surgery, and even that is going to be a long process. So I'm putting that aside a little bit now because obviously this year before I had surgery, long rehab, and I was off the bike for so long that I feel like I need to like kind of take a little bit to catch back up again. And then when I have time on the off season, when it's a bit lower, like winter time, I will hopefully figure it out. And yeah, it will probably be like a 6 months rehab plan with like a 1 year healing time.
Really? So you're going to have that long off the bike?
Last time when I did it, I was following like I was very tight for the rehab. Like I went very often, and they checked on me that I wasn't making too fast progress. But I managed to take down like what the anticipated was gonna be 6 months to 3 months in rehab by doing it very intense and like trying to build strength in my arm, but like still in a safe way. And it was giving good results until that new fracture happened. So I'm positive that I can do it in a good way where I like still cut down time again.
You just finished watching a clip from the full 3-hour podcast. You're on our Clips channel. The full podcast live on the Gypsy Tales podcast channel. It's linked right here. Go over to that channel, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and make sure you never miss a full episode of the Gypsy Tales podcast. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you want to watch it on the go, you can also head to our iTunes or Spotify to get the full 3-hour podcast in audio format.
I met a gypsy.